Hi guys, today I'm just going to go over all the brushes that I use to do my face. Okay, so I'm just going to start from the beginning of how I do my face and what brushes I use. So I start off with the Silk, which is a wrinkle and pore minimizer, and I use my fingers to put that on. Obviously, I already have on my moisturizer and all of that great stuff. And then I go on to my foundation. I use the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush, and you guys, I am so type A that I literally put labels on all of my brushes saying what they're for. It just makes it so much easier for me. So I put foundation for this and blending contour. So this brush is great for foundation because it's a little more dense, so you get a little better coverage. So this is the brush I use. Next, if you guys do bronzing, I love this brush, the buffing brush for bronzing. It's a little more light and not as dense, and it's perfect to swipe your face under the cheekbone, chin, etc. So that's the brush I use for that. If you guys do want to do heavy contouring for a photo shoot or just a night out and you just want to have a little stronger contour, you can use the Real Techniques Sculpting brush. It has like an angle like this, and you can tell it's a little more narrow this way. So it's perfect for contouring up here. Same thing as you did with the bronzing, it just makes it a little more distinct. Next, for concealer under the eye, you can either put it on with your finger, but then I like to use this brush. This is the pointed foundation brush to blend it out, and that pointed part can get in some of those areas and get a little closer to your eyelid for applying that concealer. Another brush you can use for that, for any corrective that you put under your eyes, is the Deluxe Crease brush. This brush is great for that too. It's kind of a little dome shape, and you can kind of tap it all in there and pack it on with this brush. All right, so then when you set the powder on that to make that baking effect under your eyes, I use the setting brush by Real Techniques. It looks like this, and it's great. I just dab it in my powder, and I just put it on, kind of pack it in there. And then you guys can also use a beauty blender too to pack it on and blend it out. So those are the brushes that I use there. Then going on to the cheeks, I like to use the stippling brush. It's a little more dense toward the bottom, but not as dense where the white feathers are. So that way I can kind of place it where I want it and also blend it, and it goes on very nicely, especially with Senegence blush. Then we move to the eyes. For all over color on the eyes, I like to use the medium shadow brush. I actually put on the base Candlelight with my finger, but then when I use Sandstone Pearl Shimmer, I like to use this brush to put it all over. Since it has that shimmery pearl glow to it, it works better with a brush than on my finger because my finger deposits the color too much in certain areas. So that is the brush I use for that. And then for the crease of my eye, I like to use the base shadow brush. That is this brush right here, and get right in that crease with this brush. Anytime I'm blending the eyeshadows and I need it blended a little better, I use the Essential Crease brush because this won't have any color deposited right on it, so I can actually blend what's already there out more without putting more on my eyelid. So I use this to blend numerous times. If you want an accent corner color, a little darker, or smudge under the eye, this brush is great, you guys. Can you see that? It's really tiny, but you can kind of go right under your eye where you need it and deposit the color right where you want it in the corner. So this brush is the accent brush. What do you know? Okay, let's see. Another brush that I like to use that's bigger than the accent brush to put the darker corner, like the garnet I have right now. I used this brush, it's the shading brush. So this is a little more dense, and I can put it in the corner and kind of blend out right there. So that's a great brush to use. Go on to highlighting for the eye. I like to use the Detailer brush. It's a pointed brush like this, and I like to use that in the corner right here and then up and under here because you can get in small places with it. So I like to use this brush for highlighting. And then my brow brush, I use the brow brush. It's angled and it's perfect to doing strokes like your eyebrow to fill in those. And then for the top liner, I use the iSense by Senegence, so it already has a brush. But for the bottom, I like to use Shadow Sense in Onyx, and I like to use the fine liner brush, which is this little guy, to do under my eye and pull out the wing. And then, of course, brushing your brows is always great. For face highlighting, I actually like to use their contour brush. It's very kind of light, so I just dip this in like pearlizer or whatever I'm using and kind of go down the center of my face and touch the areas that I need. It's just a really nice brush that puts it right where you want it. So I think that covered all the brushes and everything I use on my face. Like I mentioned, I am type A, so I have all of my brushes labeled because when you start off, it is overwhelming not knowing what to use and where. I also like to have a set and matching brushes. That's why I decided to use all Real Techniques brushes, and they're great, and you guys can get them at Target. If you have any questions, message me or comment below, and I will answer them for you, and I can even put the links and what brushes I use in the comments so you guys know. I hope that helped knowing what brushes to use for your face, and thanks for watching, you guys, and feel free to join my Facebook group, Beauty by Stacie Marie. All right, bye.